I want to say something. It's very important. I hope everyone that hears my voice, that is protesting, that is rioting, and those that are doing acts of violence, I just want you to know something very, very, very important that I do not think you're realizing. I want to give you some information, and I want you to ponder it very deeply. You do have to realize something, that we've all been lied to for a long time. And unfortunately, the young adult generation has been lied to for a long, long time. All their lives, probably, about information and facts. When it comes to education, history, and truth, you've never been told the truth about anything that's real, that matters. And I want to tell you something. You might want to ask me, why would I have the picture of this arch? Probably many of you have never seen it before, have no idea what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's the Arch of Baal. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's an archway that went to the temples of Satan. And no, it's not cool, okay? It's evil. And it symbolizes a sacrifice, a human sacrifice. And it requires blood because it's a beast that rules it. And that beast is Satan. And it wants blood sacrifices. And this is why they turn red lights on it. See, this was put up in London. And it's been all around the world. And it's even been in the United States. And it's a curse. And I want you to realize that you're partaking in the spiritual mind control that this beast wants. Because you've been not told history or facts. You don't know the facts about World War II and Nazi Germany. You've been lied to. Okay? You don't even know what that is. You just know there was Jews killed. And I got news for you. There was more than Jews killed. There was Christians killed. There was disabled killed. There was just anyone that he felt like killing, he killed. And yes, the majority were Jews, and I'll tell you why. Because they were wealthy. Because they had good businesses. They'd worked hard all their lives. And they went in and took that. And took that heritage and stole it. See, the devil is the master and inventor of identity theft. And though we just hear it now because it's all technology and people steal people's identities, it's been going on since the beginning of time of man. But the point that I'm trying to get to you is that when you are protesting and you're rioting, you have no idea what you're doing. And you have no idea what's truth. Because we're in the information age. But the information is total bull. And excuse me for being blunt, but it's bullshit. Literally dung. Brought on to this world by the king of dung hill. The king of the dunghill, which is Satan. He wants chaos. He wants disruption for a very good reason for him. Because he is coming to kill, steal, and destroy. And he uses people to do it. Now I'm going to tell you something. This whole political thing has been lies. Lies from the pit of hell to manipulate, to get people to emotionally react. And they know that your generation has been programmed to just lash out and act out and to cause chaos. And I'm going to tell you something. Out of this chaos, the very thing that you think you're rioting about, you're going to cause to come upon us. Because, see, a nation can't stand when it's divided. And right is right and wrong is wrong. And people do wrong things. We all do. But at some point, we have to step back and ask ourselves, what am I doing this for? And is this really real that I'm doing this for? See, you've been offered someone who is going to lead that wants to make us free and take us out of this bondage. Is he a perfect man? No, he's not. And you know what? You'll search this world over and you're not going to find a perfect man. I'm going to tell you something. Our government has a lot of hidden secrets and lies. And even when good men step up to the plate, if they don't play the game, they take them out. And that's exactly what happened to John F. Kennedy. And it's what they did to Ronald Reagan, except they shot him and he didn't die. And I could tell you so much history that we could sit here and you could learn. But I'm going to keep this short so that I can hold your attention. Because I know the younger generation does not have a very long attention span. But I'm going to tell you something. You're reacting to a curse that's been put on this land. And it is straight of the devil. And he's doing it all over. And I'm going to tell you something. Everywhere these arches have been, all hell has broke loose. Okay? All hell has broke loose. Because the next thing's going to come, it's going to be bloodshed in our streets. And many aren't even going to know why. And I'm going to ask you something. For all those people that protest for days and days and days, and you believe you're doing something for your cause, the rest of the world is struggling to make ends meet and to pay bills. Because this country has been robbed completely. I'm going to tell you something. For what we've paid in taxes, and then what we have invented and done and accomplished in this country, our streets should be made of gold. But we're poor. We're broke because we are doing something that is wrong. We have leadership that has purposely stole from us, robbed us blind, and then controlled the masses and make us accept and actually now defend being persecuted, being robbed. And this isn't all about money, you see. When blood is shed, innocent blood is shed, that blood cries out, whether you believe in God or not. God created us. That blood is the life force. And every time blood is shed that is innocent, it cries out. And the more a country does bloodshed of the people, listen, our government has done a lot of crimes. Our current president has done some really bad stuff. He's guilty of war crimes. I know that you guys don't probably even understand what's going on in the Middle East or why. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a spiritual nature to all of this. It truly is. So while you're out there protesting for days and days, I ask you something. How are you worried about your bills? How are you getting money? How do you do that? Are you on vacation? Are you students? And mom and dad are paying the bill? Because if you're students and mom and dad are paying the bill, everything that you're fighting for and protesting about, you're going to take that away. Mom and dad are not going to be able to do that. It's going to end if something doesn't change. We cannot continue to sit by and defend and protect being robbed and putting curses upon us, which is what they've done. Plain and simple. It is evil. It is spiritual wickedness in high places. So, back to the question I just asked. How are you doing this financially? To be in the streets and to protest day after day after day. Are some of you getting paid to protest? All right, if you're getting paid to protest, you gotta look beyond, hey, I'm getting a paycheck to do this. I'm getting paid. You gotta ask why. Ask yourself, why would someone pay you to go out and protest and riot? Why would they do that? And why don't you look into where your check is coming from and who this person is and what these people do? They tear down nations. That's who they are. Destroy them. And out of that, they get very wealthy. Look, someone's not going to just spend money like that and not be getting something out of it. And he's doing it all over this nation through MoveOn.org and all of that. All his little conglomerates. His name is George Soros. See, you know not what you do. You're doing something, and you know not what you do. And it's bad. It's evil. It's disorder and it's chaos, and a country can't stand. And I'm going to tell you something for those of you that aren't protesting, but are posting things on social media, things that you are being fed about. We're all going to get rounded up in Nazi camps if you're, if you don't comply with certain things, and this is all the Christians' fault, and that the gays are going to be rounded up into concentration FEMA camps and all kinds of things. Let me tell you something. Who do you think is putting that information out? Because, first of all, let me tell you something. Christians do not go out and kill people. We're not allowed to do things like that. We fight on a spiritual level. Are all Christians perfect? Heck no. And see, that's the basis of that faith. It's the basis. It's the only religion that has a savior. Okay? And so there's so much truth. It's all truth. That the world hates it and blames it. Let me tell you something. Hitler was not a Christian. Just because you claim to be something doesn't mean you are. It was a farce. He knew he was no Christian. And as a matter of fact, Hitler was a Jew himself. Okay? And he killed Christians. And he killed elderly. And he killed disabled. And anyone that did not fit his genetic pattern code. And I'm going to tell you something. He killed the homosexuals. He rounded them up. Okay? And it had nothing to do with Christianity. All right? Nothing to do with it. He was into the occult strongly. He was into mysticism. He was definite direct connection with the devil, and he was undoubtedly possessed by the devil himself, by Satan himself. Possessed. And it was all about stealing and identity theft. That's all it was. And this man that is paying your bills, for those that are getting paid to protest, see, he rounded them up. Now, he was supposedly a Jew himself. And somehow, he got changed identity and got adopted by someone who was in the Nazi police. See? And he went around at 14 years old and took all that property of the Jews and then took them to be slaughtered. This is the man that's paying you. But then he puts out the propaganda that this election is going to cause you to get put in a FEMA camp. So you better protest. Do you see how you've been fooled by evil itself? You've been lied to. You're being manipulated. And see, supposedly there's something inside of you that says, I don't want to be manipulated. I don't want to be controlled. But then you are walking right into it. See, the devil will use your emotions to cause you to be part of his destructive plan. And you can choose to believe me or not. Go do your homework. This is the stage of information, technology. Everything's at the tips of your fingers. But if you're going to listen to liars and only respond to liars who put this stuff out to get you to do these things, and you don't search out truth, you're never going to find it. See, it's backwards. When things like this happen, it's backwards. See? Good is perceived as evil, and evil is perceived as good. But when you step back, it doesn't hurt to pray either. Pray that God give you discernment, for you to give understanding of what is happening. Think further ahead than what you're doing. Because if you're being paid to protest, which many are, I'm not saying that every single person out there is being paid, but they're being manipulated. And you're standing there with people that are getting paid. And they're planning some really big stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to cause the very thing that you're not wanting. People are going to get rounded up. You have no idea what martial law is like. And see, out of that chaos, the evil take control. You've been lied to. You've been greatly deceived. You really have. You know, there's information in the Bible exactly about this kind of thing. In Psalm 2. And it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? What's heathen? Well, you know, when we act a fool, when we act disorderly, we're acting like a heathen. Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder, cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then he shall speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sword of pleasure. You have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree of the Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, and thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O you kings, be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoicing and trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. This psalm is talking about when the kings of the earth manipulate the people, cause destruction and chaos. It's going to bring down judgment. And the devil knows it. When a nation is behaving like this and murdering innocents, I tell you, it's not going to end very well. And you're going to long for the days to be free and to be not persecuted. Because it's going to bring on things that are horrible. Go look at Syria. There's genocide going on. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And you know what? It's the Christians that are being murdered. And guess what? Our wonderful president will not bring the Christians over. They're the ones left behind. And many that are being brought into these countries in Europe and in the United States are young men who have been programmed to kill. Jihadi. Jihad. Holy war. So you don't understand what this is. It's a holy war. Whether you believe in God or not. It's what it is. And it's been going on for a long, long time. And now it's going to come here. And you're feeding it. You're protesting against your own protection. You're protesting against all that you hold dear. You're protesting for things that are not true. Clearly not true. And I beg you, in the name of the Lord, to stop. Because our destruction is at the door, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. That's not his wish. And I'll tell you something. You better go listen to the horse's mouth and stop listening to pundits and manipulators. Because see, the reason they do this, the reason they sit and lie and spread lies is because, see, they've been promised something. Because some big stuff's going to go down. That's beyond man. And I'm going to tell you something. After Christmas, you're going to see some major stuff happening on this earth. You are going to see changes in the days and the nights. The weather. Natural catastrophes. They're coming. You're going to start seeing it by the end of the year. It's going to be kind of noticeable, and it's going to get more intense and more intense. And I'll tell you something. It's going to be shocking. I know you think that I might not be telling you the truth, but I am. Because evil's got a lot to do before this ends. And you are participating in a holy war when you riot and you protest. You're being manipulated. You're being mind controlled. So, these buildings that I'm showing you here, it's the Temple of Baal. They took babies in there and sacrificed them on the altar. And see, in this country, we don't have no regard for children. None. None. There's a curse. And there is a spirit of killing babies and disregarding children. This is why women are having babies and throwing them in the trash can, in the dumpster, in the toilet, leaving them. You hear it almost every day. Why is that? I'm 53 years old, and I can tell you, I never saw that or heard about that until your generation, this younger generation. My child's generation. Because, see, when you just slaughter babies in the womb, and you want to believe that that's not really a life, when it has a beating heart and a brain at 4 weeks of development in the womb, it has its own DNA, but the lies from hell that have everything to do with this arch, because it is a beast and it has to have blood. And it was put up in New York City. And since then, in September, all hell has broke loose on our country. We have had a curse of damnation. And guess who's traveled around the cities where this arch is at the same time? In many of the cities in the world. Our president. I'm just telling you, these arches are going up everywhere. And they are evil. They want to tell you it's culture and it's history. Oh, it's culture, all right. It's a culture of sacrifice, of blood sacrifices. I'm going to tell you something. We're going to see the blood of judgment flow in our streets. You got to break this curse. You got to be wiser than the serpent, the devil. You got to be wiser and gentle as doves. So when you're participating in this protest, ask yourself, why am I here? And will all this out of control, I'm not talking about people peacefully holding up a sign and walking down the street, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. But even so, why would you do that? What have you been lied to about? Go do some homework. Quit believing what people do to twist the truth to get you to react, because they have an agenda. And these people that sit behind the cameras and these people that sit all day and put out propaganda for you to spread on social media and just stir it up and keep it going. See, they do this because they think they're being protected. They think they're going to get a special spot when all hell breaks loose. Because they know it's going to. They know they're even contributing to it, most of them. But they're not going to get a special spot. See? Because they're expendable. They're going to be taking up valuable resources. And the very evil that has sucked them in, manipulated them, and paid them to do it, is going to eat them alive. See, evil doesn't care about anybody. It just wants blood. See, that is what the cross meant. It was a final cleansing of everything. It's why it forgives sin. Because he was all the blood that was ever needed to be shed for righteousness, for forgiveness, for mercy. But see, Satan loves blood. He wants the blood. He's the one that shed Jesus' blood, whether you believe it or not. It's all about bloodshed. Look around this world. Look at the state it's in. Do you want to be an active participant of the destruction and bloodshed? Right is right, wrong is wrong. We've not had sensible leaders. Criminals who kill and rape and rob need to go to jail. And if they're not from here, they need to go back to where they're from. If they are not an American citizen. What is wrong with that? You know, the day everybody went up in arms and started this rioting, a little girl in Texas was murdered, put in a well. She's probably tortured before she was killed by an evil, sick man that isn't even supposed to be here and committed other crimes and wasn't in jail. Violent crimes. Wasn't taken out, and it cost this little girl her life. See, this is what I'm talking about. Our children are going to get slaughtered in the streets. Little children. It's going to become so unsafe. No one can even go in public without the threat of violence. This is crazy. So I pray you hear me. I don't care what your agenda is. I don't care what your place in society is that you want to fit in, what group you want to fit in. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because the very thing that you say you stand against is going to be what saves you. It is. And the very thing that you're supporting and backing and wanting is what would be your destruction. It's all backwards. Day is night, night is day, black is white, white is black. We've been totally mind controlled. I just want you to ponder these things. Ask yourself this. And then sit down and make a logical, calm decision. Come to the conclusion of the truth. Quit getting your news from Facebook. Quit getting your news from people who are being paid to lie to you on the television or through the internet. And find out who's always at the root of this. It's always the same group of people. I'll tell you something. The United States is an exceptional country. There's none other like it. We are a people of freedom. We are a people who do extraordinary and exceptional things. We're a threat. We're a threat to the rest of the world that doesn't want that. Because there's an evil cabal in control. And if you don't believe in good versus evil, then you know what? You're living like an ostrich with your head in the sand. Because, see, just because something is you've declared is true, and that's what you live your life out on, it doesn't mean it's really truth. Because when you've been lied to all your life and fed, spoon-fed lies, then the basis of what you believe is truth is like building your house out of straw in a windstorm. It's exactly what it's like. And for those of you that don't want to deal with it, don't want to believe on it, don't want to even think about it, rationalize it, look, ostriches put their heads in the sand, their ass is up in the air. And when your ass is up in the air, it's going to get kicked. That's all I'm saying. I just want you to know, there is some major things going to happen. And we as a people need to be united. Not this. Because it's going to make it worse. It's going to make it worse. They want martial law. Why do you think your president is not standing up there and telling you, look, you have a right to peaceful protest. Please stop the violence because this can't be tolerated. No, he didn't say that. And he didn't say it in Egypt either when they tore that country apart. Okay? He told them to riot. And they had a peaceful country. Wasn't perfect. But then they put in the radical Muslim Brotherhood. That's who Obama was working with. And believe me, there is so much truth and facts on Hillary Clinton. You don't know who this woman is, but those of us who is older do. Because see, we dealt with her for 8 years. And we saw what she was about. It was a disgrace. And she had a very evil agenda. And she's waited a long time to step in and finish it off. See, there are people that hate this country, absolutely hate this country, and they are in power. You just have no idea what you're participating in. So, I'm just telling you that things are about to change on this earth. There's going to be a judgment coming. But you're going to notice it first. The sun, the moon, the heavens. You're going to notice things. It's coming. And the way that our nation is dealt with by God is going to depend on what's going on right now with the people. So, I just want you to know, when all hell breaks loose, and you fear for your life and all you hold dear, you know, all those that cry out to the Lord will be saved. And I'll tell you something. There's no atheists. And there's men down in a foxhole fighting and the bombs are going off. Okay? When men are about to die and they are in a very threatening situation, they will cry out. So, deny whatever you want to deny now. But that's the truth. Well, I don't know. You know, it's up to you. We're all individuals and we're all responsible for ourselves. But I can tell you, when one person has the light come on and steps out of the darkness, it makes a difference. It could be a game changer. It starts with us as individuals. I pray for our nation because it's about to die. She's dying. she's like on the table and her heart keeps stopping and they have to keep jumping it and shocking her to get her heart to beat. She's dying. She's been dying. But you guys didn't know, because you don't know what it is to have right ruling you. Because we've been ruled by evil for a long time. Before you were ever born. No one stood up to it. Because the two that did, well, one was assassinated. And the other one was attempted to be assassinated. And then after that, he couldn't recall a dang thing. He wasn't able to run the country. He could not remember things. He was not a well man after that. He then became diagnosed with Alzheimer's after that. And we all know that any president that is in the White House and in the Oval Office with Alzheimer's is not running the country. Somebody else is. Okay? And then who stepped into power for 8 years after that? The Clintons. Because see, Ronald Reagan was a lot like what Trump wants to do and is standing for. Ronald Reagan made this country come back while the economy was just collapsing and no jobs. Manufacturing jobs. It's just terrible. From Carter, Jimmy Carter, who was the president before him and did all these kind of things. And it caused the economy to collapse. And Reagan built it back up. And he was going against the plan, the powers that be. So they tried to take him out. And blame it on, it's always blamed on a crazy guy that has some fixation or some obsession that makes no sense, okay? It's mind control. They do these things. So you're already in it if you're protesting, if you're rioting. You're doing this mind control stuff. No, you're not being mind controlled to go up and assassinate the president, but maybe some are. Think about that. It's happened before. You don't know history. You don't understand. And it's time you did. Because you're going to be judged for what you're doing. And I don't want to see anybody, out of ignorance, do something that causes other people to lose their lives. And then that you've got to live with that responsibility. And it doesn't matter whether you accept the responsibility or not. It's going to affect your life, the rest of your life. However long or short that might be. That's all I'm doing here is just trying to get you to think. Just trying to get you to think. Look beyond what you're programmed to see and believe. There's much more there. Well, I hope and pray to the Lord that someone gets it, what I'm saying here. Remember, it just takes one to make a difference.